Good evening. I'm Pamela Twining, and to my right is Andy Clausen. Unfortunately, Bad Stanza couldn't be here tonight since he twisted his ankle on the job. So it's just Andy and I. And
That's not a just.
that's not a just. It's Andy and I. And I'm starting with a poem that I wrote in honor of our notorious RBG. Notorious. We thought she was indestructible. We offered her our lungs, our kidneys, even our hearts should she require them. But in the end, she could only go forward with the body she had, the body she honed to superb fitness, though in her 80s. She also honed her mind and her wit on the most difficult, the most controversial questions of the day, and she did so with an even hand and without anger. Well, sometimes a little anger, but only when she felt strongly that justice miscarried. We thought we'd have her forever in spite of her bouts with cancer. She was strong. She always came back. We knew she was at an age where most of your contemporaries are gone, and you know you don't have a lot of days left on this plane. But still, we thought she'd hold on selfishly. We prayed for her to hold on, at least till after the election. Too much to hope that she'd be able to last another 4 years if the results were bad. But we had hopes that at least she'd get us through this horrible election. My God, we have no idea what will happen. The most horrific scenarios are predicted. The white gangs have been ramped up by the president of us and gleefully take their positions in the forefront of American life, as most of us look on in disbelief at everything we thought we knew about this country being flushed downstream by the rise of the swamp people, the minds of haters and bigots that were always among us, taking charge, raising themselves above the polite forms agreed on for so many decades. Yes, we wanted to tear all that down in the 60s, but for love and common good, not for the freedom of each against all. So half the population of US is devastated by the death of RBG, the valiant fighter for justice for women, for equal rights for all. And it speaks strongly to how far we've slid that her passing is cause not only for grief, but fear, actual bone-wrenching fear. We sing for you, Ruthie. We sing to bring courage to our hearts across the veil newly dropped. We sing in memory of your long and brilliant influence in our lives. We sing in defiance of those who would drive us back. We have to let go. It's the way of the world, but we have to do the work and not despair. This is called Takla Makan, which is the point of no return. The sands of a desert planet drift higher and higher. A once 30-foot wall, now short spikes. One could step over them if there were anyone. There are no people left to bother about such things as legal or illegal traversing of the wall, the border. There are no borders. There is nothing to wall off, the drifts of sands, the dust storms. No water has fallen from the sky or bubbled up from the earth in centuries, and so the sand, the dust, blows endless over the featureless desert dunes, ever changing with the will of the wind. No home for any being needing water. The cities drowned so long ago that only mountain dwellers remained on newly shorefront properties for a time. But no bees, no butterflies pollinate their crops. No sweet long grasses feed the ungulates. So no grass eaters feed the carnivores, no plants, no animals feed the people. Would they possibly descend to eating each other? Or would they lie down in honor, lay down both swords and plowshares, and join the ancestors in the starry skies? The deaths of all the species happened so quickly there was no time to learn new ways, if the people had any will to do so, which in their arrogance, unrelieved by the stench of the dead and dying all around them, they denied. It can't, it won't happen to me. Prayers and cries to deities went unanswered as the gods and goddesses turned away. We gave you all you needed to make good choices, but you were blinded by the gleam of gold and jewels, all that you called riches, all that you envied and placed above the mother, the home, the womb. You avoided the lessons of nature, the very nature you were given dominion over, but you disdained it, treated it as if it was limitless. It might have been, had you been conscious stewards, but you depleted it in wanton lust and greed like unschooled infants demanding more, 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 considering only singular wishes, ignoring the plight of nations, the breath of Creator made flesh, the dark, wet, fertile body of earth, woman, mother, life-giver. She was fenced and broken and raped and torn, the richness ripped from her womb and burned and burned. A wise mother told you to use the energy of Father Sun, or the waters filling her body cavities, or the pulsing goddess breath, the wind all ever renewed, instead of minerals limited by time and space, the black blood, the body gases, the blackened stones crushed over millennia. There are no more, and it's too late now to turn to the source and ask to be made whole. Thus, the spikes atop the useless wall are the only visible signs, remnants of the folly of humankind, who stole the lives of all beings in their childish grasping. I want, I want, I want. It's yours for all the good it will do, even as the last human being on earth. There will be no more after you, and all the art and poetry and music will be buried in those blowing sands for all time. Eventually, the stars will go out. This is by request. It's called Orgasm. The sublime validation of this incarnation, embodiment of this set of yearnings and completions, is not necessary for women in the scheme of procreation. Many thirsting as for a different dream, though they have borne and nurtured infants at their breasts. Clitoridectomy, infibulation, ritual removal of the pleasure center from the yoni, sacred base, the connection with original mother to whom we return blood and eventually flesh and bone, yet receive no possibility of delight in that foul excision. They are surely saints whose lives rise above such denials, possessing the secret of joy. Deep within the body memory, in the flesh, in the cells, in the meat of our beginnings, before the flood buried all the ancient stories, before the desert sands welled up, tsunamis swallowing the cradles of the gods, the first people, whom rumor is will also be the last. In estrus, a girl just scratches that itch until she's pregnant. No explosive, oh my gods, precede the cosmic joining of horse sperm and ovum, or cheetah, or great ape. Zygotes of cats and dogs were not conceived in love, were not sanctioned in ceremony, were not the result of meeting someone hot in a bar, a candlelit dinner and a movie, the honor of family, the saving of face among friends, the wish for a secure future, the conscious fulfillment of destiny. Femina sapiens is the only female known to be orgasmic, if not multi-orgasmic. It can't just be so she won't walk away, spunk running down her legs, upright as she is. Or why do they only get better with age? What profit orgasm for those whose seed is wizened, diseased, or lacking, for whom childbirth is only memory or regret? Ejaculate conserved is stardust of millennia. Released, the seed will be broadcast on the water, spilled in the rich mold of the forest floor, the body cavities of men and women no longer barren. A supreme act of choice, hold back, as tantric babas say, an energy, enlightenment, crashing in the waves of involuted comings. Songs so consummate and silent, even the candles of the midnight sky shimmer and blaze in awe. He says he loves my tree trunk legs, wrapped hard around as he plunges into dark forest, wet, drawn into depths not touched before. His sinuous glide, his questing tongue, his thirst for the lost stream bed, the fragrant place to end spending unending night. He says he loves my stretch-marked belly, round with aftermath of births, striations bold and white against tanned skin, elastic youth surrendered, taught, and then some, like a sausage, bursting from its casing, spilling life for spirit's eventual delectation. He says he loves my fallen breasts, no pert and innocent globes of light attracting men of any age like moths to flame, but redolent of milk days past, sustenance taken and supplicants gone, the world opened out to their glowing futures, source depleted but hungry still. His impatient lips demand, provide fulfillment. He says he loves my wilting neck, tall columns still proud but flagging, skin obeying planetary laws and heading south. His eyes still drawn above to the smile he's always cherished, diamond flashing. Pretty girl, he says. He says he loves my gray-streaked hair, decades long. He loves it long, to bury hands in, to breathe in, to inhale, soft like feathers to trail across his skin, fluttering, there, not there, as fleet as life skimming across the surface of his mind like memory. He says he loves the way I laugh in orgasm, not threatened, as some have said, to joy in that expression, mirth and lie, exhausted, inventing poems, only pulling away to write them down. Wild poet woman, he says. Never that girl. I was never that girl, the one with legs up to here, sleek and shining, curls exploding, firm flesh sculpted just right, looking great in any clothes that fell out of the sky and landed all helter-skelter, but perfectly on her body. That girl all eyes follow, perfect, glowing. It's she all the designs are designed for, stiletto heels, sheer stockings, and fragile silks, skirt hiding little. I did have a dynamite skirt I made out of a pair of jeans, released the inseams and sewed a satin panel in the back, left the front open up to, well, my mother was not amused, but I wore it. She disowned me. Not really, but it was a close thing. I wore blue leather platform boots with studs. I wore layers of nail polish, metallic green, blue, blood red, black. Wore sequins on my face and glitter in my hair. Divine decadence, as Liza said. But I was never that girl, the one all eyes follow as she glides almost above the surface of the earth to wherever she's going. And people, especially men, walk into walls and fall off of curbs. I was with that girl once, and walking a bit behind her, I watched it happen, laughed so hard I could barely walk my own self. It was like an old-time slapstick movie, as if Mae West was gyrating down the street, and the men on the sidewalk literally fell off the curb and or walked into telephone poles. They couldn't take their eyes off her. Young women in their late teens, early 20s, every one of them gorgeous, sleek, lovely, tanned, a few blonde, one Latinx, an African American, and my daughter of Native American heritage, all talking about how ugly they were. Any one of them could have been in movies. Every one of them had star quality. And me, plain old me, thinking how we do our girls and young women, make them hypercritical of themselves, of their appearance, so that even the most beautiful hate themselves and see in their mirrors hags and monsters, or sad orphans, or too fat, too thin, too white, too flat, too busty, too tall, too short, too dark, too light, too kinky, too straight, too big, too freckled, too plain, too crooked, too muscular, too hairy, too. No woman I have known has ever been happy with her appearance. Even women who seem to think they're beautiful are lying. Deep down inside, they're afraid they're too see above. Even when they act like they think they're all that, way deep down they're cringing and praying no one notices how they've been fooled by the makeup, the dyed hair, expensive, well-planned outfits, the jewelry. We must sparkle men into oblivion so they won't notice the real ashen puddle in the hearth behind the door. This is called Love Warriors. Where are the love warriors? Epitaphs seeking horizon. All manner of lives and unknown, unrecorded deaths. One died mysteriously in police custody. One died sleeping in the right apartment for the wrong reason. One died in madness, shocked and chained, cardiac arrest. Well, some kind of arrest anyway. Another died in an alley, naked and alone, robbed of her humanity, just a commodity, hunger like the beak of a terrible bird, pecking at the vitals, marking the emptiness, stitching the belly shut with pain. Words stolen from the mouths of the long dead, forgotten, anonymous. Their words made whole again, live again, resounding in the world like clarion, like deep gong, shivering night air, shimmering sun-bleached moments, hazy summer daylight, words of women long dead, layers of stories reclaimed from the void, black hole of the nothing, eater, consumer, excreter of all that's of value, rendering a strange and sudden destruction, burning into consciousness, trails of fire and slow roll of lava, incendiary heart, blackened crust, encasing red, orange, glow, yellow, heat. One spoke of freedom while kneeling, scrubbing floors. One spoke of love to children born of rape, transformed the lives they were given into small legends, the stuff myths are made of. Not the myths themselves, but the ground, the soil from which myth springs. Plague. A blizzard with no snow, hurricane with no wind, tsunami with no water, a forest fire without flame, consumed by an invisibility, devastated by fear as sweeping as the inferno through paradise. In time of plague, change is the word, so much left untold. Life as we know it, always seen in rear view as a sepia photo, a sweet memory of elder times when life was simple and pure, better in our mind's eyes at least. Before plague, after plague, the wall between now and then is the margin of our despair, a malignant normality in the quicksand of the middle distance. We get so comfortable with walls. A narrative of isolation, no intimacy, no touch, the ultimate distraction, a justification under the radar and in broad daylight by mental predators pretending transparency, creating chaos and calling it choreography, seeking ownership of reality in their absurd theater of lies. We are all prisoners here in the poisoned well of the great unraveling, keeping vigil in the desert of our national discourse. It's somebody's last night, making conversation, but trying not to scream. This is called Earth Abides. The time of no time, mother shaking to her core, a time of madness and of spirit. The monsters that walk amongst us, the fires of their hatreds burn unceasing, but the seed, the fruit, will live longer. Germinate in utter silence, darkness, mulch and mold, mycelia, life, even in the oppressive heat of a plague summer. Treating others' bodies as if they were their own, touch designed as if to claim a right, out into the night mists rising, darkening. In a time when there are no roads, paths create themselves. In a time when there are no clocks, imagine. I taste the depths of you, breathe you in, swirl, obscure, completing the darkness, swift blade of the dark. This is your dance. No water, no food. Thank God, if there is a God or gods, for you. Jealous of the rain caressing your skin, wanting your touch above all things. Spill the last of your life into me. What we undertake for each other, this dance, no hesitation, no fear. I acknowledge the light in you, and earth abides. I have one more before I introduce Andy. How long has it been? Do you know how long I've been? Okay, then I can do this one. New World Order. Every morning I listen to the awakening earth. More musical now since all the world is caged inside and all the streets abandoned, like an apocalypse movie, ready to deteriorate as economies and buildings collapse around them, told to stay inside at all cost. Nothing is more important than separation. How are the people to make their wish, not wishes? There's only one, equal justice. Not only known, but acted on in the long run when separation is mandated. A revolution is necessary, and hoping there's no violence is, I fear, quixotic. Not the right word, but idealistic isn't either. Naive, gullible. No one could believe that such great eruptions, destructions, dissolutions, resolutions, disruptions, erections will be achieved without pushback, sometimes ferocious, usually meaning bloodshed. There is no meekness in a demand for justice. It is said that the meek would inherit the earth. In what universe? Do systems evolve, or are they reformed from the smashed and broken shards of past mistakes, cobbled together, fit or no, from lack of political imagination? Fear. The Japanese paint reconstituted cracks of shattered pottery with gold to illustrate the random beauty of destruction and rebirth. Americans think that once the president is elected, their job is over. The prez can do it all. All the people have to make the prez do what they want. Mere election is not enough. The movement must be continued. The fight has to go on, and it takes the people to enforce their desires into law. As FDR said, make me. Whatever you want, make me. Keep up the pressure, people. Election results are just a snapshot. No one of substance, no conspicuous consumer would take seriously a Polaroid of people's lives, a snap of time, adulterated anew by propaganda. The people can be herded like sheep, with the dogs of hate and terror nipping at their heels to keep them rounded up in order. We celebrate togetherness, but it can be used against us. Easier to herd a crowd than discrete dots and blips, a person here, a person there. The key is to know when to mass and when to scatter. Thanks. I hope everyone enjoyed my section here, and I would like to introduce Andy Clausen.
Okay, good evening, everybody. This won't be easy. I'm to pen and perform something appropriate and worthwhile for the annual New Year's reading. I'm to video it October 23rd at Greenkill. The election will be a few days from that day. What will January 2021 be like? You think hundreds of thousands will come to watch the ball drop in Times Square? Kissing, hugging, singing Auld Lang Syne. Will we know if Cockwomble or Big Joe Biden will occupy the White House? Will the Iron Heel have come down and crushed America? Will there be drive-bys, Molotovs, renegade police, roundups, chaos, immense destruction, paralyzing sounds? Will COVID-19 be used as a weapon? Will it be a smooth transition, nothing to get heated about? Will millions be hungover or scared in their impending homelessness? Will the South drown in hurricanes and virus? Will I be here? What I want, that this narcissistic clown could put the world in such apocalyptic danger, misery, and tyranny, is indictment of many USA people, selfish, diseducated. They let it happen. Yes, you heard right. You let it happen. I want to pen, awed and adoring the magnificence of the intricate rock formations of windswept Wyoming, the wonderful benevolence of the golden beaches of the Golden State, the diverse shades of green, upstate New York, the magisterial, austere Aspen Mountains of Colorado. I want to spy a puma and live to write about it. The electric ferns of the Oregon Cascades, the intoxicating rhythms of every major city's Harlem, like Whitman, like Lorca, like Springsteen, like David Henderson, Senghor, and Lou Reed, like Sapphire. I want to praise New York's promise and energy. I want to extol non-polluting fuel and organic agriculture. I want to sing America the Beautiful without my face and torso turning into a sobbing mess. I want to sing and tap the bongos to This Land Is Your Land and many more of Woody's lays, lilts, and airs. I want to have immense fun like the Beat Generation. I shudder what Alan, Gregory, Ray, Janine, Lenore, Diane, Bob, Lerner, Jack and Jack would feel alive this moment. Yes, the promise of America is being killed and fast. How could you allow this work avoiding club, gang, cult of Fauntleroy, pansy-ass, wimpy yet heartless bullies to become an institution that commits senseless murder, that beat innocent people and advocate it, the roided up police that become judge and jury, that administer major punishment for minor crimes, that let all the Bosch blockheads' frustrated coitus explode with the dead orgasm of undeserved hatred from fist to lethal weapon. You know about this. You've been exposed to a lot. Nobody's had more data flung at them, plugged into them. And now you can't go to the bar anymore without catching or spreading sickness and death. You didn't have the tools, the open mind, the patience to interpret the data. You saw much drama and melodrama with corny heroes and implausible love affairs. You stood up for trite or degrading in comedy. You cut the union by forfeiting pension, health care, vacation, overtime for a couple dollars on the check. And after the union was gone, they lowered your wage. You remembered, at least I have a job. You got older, had a smoke, let it slip by and away, and you knew violence romanticized in the cop shows and movie after movie. Violence occurred in overcrowded, miserable, non-Caucasian hoods of large, teeming cities. Crank, Addy, blow, roids made you think you Superman. You bopped and jerked past the dawn. You reckoned the politicians were crooks, and so were lawyers, doctors, landlords. You didn't want to get involved. It was easier to get by with, they were all the same, just crooks. You didn't want to recognize their dystopic vision of future society. You wanted to drink and sports on TV. You wanted flags, stars and stripes, stars and bars. You want to know why that last beer didn't work. Your brother and cousin have good jobs. Did you fantasize one someday you'd be on top of the one screwing with you? Was that sustaining your manifest philosophy? Someday you'd own the workplace and humiliate and fire everybody. The law, the mortgage company, the credit card extortionists, people you didn't know, different than you, don't eat the same foods, drink the same beer, don't recite the same prayers, don't talk like you. They must be the reason you didn't hit the lottery, why you got laid off, why your wife, your man, Didn't feel like it anymore. You blamed Mexico. You blamed China. But it is you to blame. It is your fault with your many-bedroom house behind the hedges. It is you, director, piles of money. It is you, fast food employee, retail worker. It is you, house cleaner, nanny, construction man, plumber, truck driver, butcher, baker. It is you, professor, doctor, lawyer, party boss, stockbroker. You let this happen. Of the people, by the people was too much for you to deal with, yet you were the people. For the people has rarely been tried. You could have turned down the meager bribe. You could have refused to mortgage the generations. You could have risked the paltry offerings and said no to the despot. Yet you blamed Mexico. You blamed China. You blamed pagans and the children of Islam. You blamed Jews, blamed atheists. You blamed LBGT. Hell, you blamed every letter of the alphabet. But it is you to blame. Here's one called, He Made Me Feel Good. I know it's quite ordinary to come to a new land after a war in the old. I remember the trip back to U.S. on the Dutch ship, the Ski Deck. I have vivid memories boarding the train from NYC to Reno, Nevada in the days of '49. My mom is nervous to the max. The Negro man porter, all in white with broad shoulders, a gold gleaming tooth, speaking French to me, reassuring me. In Belgium, I had never been that close to African descent. I'm not sure I had ever, other than movie screens, seen a black man, at least up close, maybe a liberating GI. He was friendly with a face that lit up as eyes and teeth flashed amidst the stern, gray, pruned faces of Euro-Americans who I'm told saved us from the Boche. But aha, I knew this must be America, this man. I thought, this is a très important man who wore all white, was very strong, and did important work, and I loved him. Oh, I want to show you something. The other day in the mail, I got a plaque, and it says, National Beat Poetry Foundation. They're out of Connecticut. Honors artist and poet Andy Clausen, State of New York, Beat Poet Laureate. I got a plaque. Okay. The title of this one is This Whirlwind of Absurdity and Unprecedented Denial of Reality has turned many into a depraved suicide cult, and the disease is communicable, willing to kill themselves, and others as malady most vile. This disease is more than COVID-19. It is what really went wrong in the Garden of Eden. It is the concept of original sin rather than Diane de Prima's eye and mind-opening line, we were all born into bliss. It is racial hatred and cruelty. It is the bigotry of religions persecuting same-sex lovers. It is the elders, like some bull moose sea lions, sending the vital young males to die, their own offspring, chasing them from the captured resources of earth, crushing their identity. It is Calvinist greed that used and uses violence or threat to secure their pilfered pelf. They think St. Pete will be looking to see their bank accounts are up to snuff for entry. It is rule makers who break those rules but coerce others to obey them. It is the sellouts of the intellectual class, the artists, the educators, the priests, rabbis, the reverends, the imams, the Mammonites. It is the greed that contaminates the wonderful planet we live in, we were born to. Rebel, revolt, regenerate. Here's to you, old man, old woman. Can you see any other solution? Here's to you and the revolution. Captured anima. Never forget the Grant Park Zoo in Chi-Town, 68. Never forget the broken glass of empty tanks of pilfered poisonous reptiles. Blackstone Nation, a young big-headed 5-foot python. The white power swastika on the Polish church guys got a lights-out fer-de-lance. The 47-year-old chimpanzee from birth lived there all his days, caged, doesn't look happy. The world's heaviest gorilla, his cage floor a giant industrial scale. They kept feeding him and spectators cheered the needle up. The muskox that charged me full throttle like a proverbial locomotive in Golden Gate Park, stopping on a dime at the metal mesh cyclone fence, barely touching it. I could see it snort and feel the heat of its eyes. I desire its hatred of me be random. Masturbating monkeys make Aunt Tilly uncomfortable, making 12-year-old boys hold their bellies and slap their foreheads, guffawing. 100 yards away, the large chimp, who from foot to foot danced, mesmerizing the crowd till she flung her excrement onto the unsuspecting alpaca sweaters, dispersing the horror. They dispersed in horror, and Bonzo's hilarious revenge, dancing foot to foot, waiting for a new audience. I'd seen Freddie Cannon dance like that. The heavy, fearsome odor of the big cats. I couldn't deal with that spray. Imagine the litter box. They are so cute and dear in kittenhood. Look how they tear at slabs of red meat, full grown. I wondered the identity of those big raw steaks they feed them. The Rhino Run in San Diego, not much better than nothing, but for sprinting rhinos, maybe build life-size, soft facsimiles of critters they can charge. And the giant walk-in exotic bird cage with brilliant chromatic jungles. In New Mexico, what? Bonobos in captivity for experiments? The concept is just wrong, hideous. Bonobos are peacemakers, lovers, smart as hell. Free the bonobos, the closest animal relative. I'll take them for neighbors over the ones fighting all the time, rather the wild therapeutic bonobo sex. The baboons, where Klebnikov noted dog and man are combined, flaunting their spectacular, radiant, color-blooming bums. On screen, footage of pandas intercoursing with Alexandrian soundtrack, a slow-mo cavalry charge of cellos. Eric Dolphy's Feathers for Bird. What did you expect, rabbits? Well, that's Groovin' High by Bird and Company, the Woody Woodpecker riff. Most animals exploit their bark or growl. Rabbits exploit their ineffability, their mind and body obsessed with repro. They don't waste it on oratory, them dag-nabbit wabbits. I saw them amazing in a caged breeding yard in Thunder Bay, Ontario. I saw them, hundreds of them, pedal to the metal, running hip-hop, hopping, eat, drink, breed, bang, bang, bop, bebop, eat, drink, mount up, bop, bong, bop, bang, bang, eat, drink, breed, shop, shoe, bop, bebop, bop, bop, quick, bump, bump, hump, fast, wow, fast, faster, the wabbits, more rabbits, bop, 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 bop. This next one's, well, we'll get it. I sure would like to survive a handful more years. Maybe it is kinder to self I don't. I'd hate to see a future where most of us no longer work. Hate to witness the demise of books. Hate to see machinery substitute for human flesh in the kitchen, in bed. I know I'd sicken at the sight of the great global coastal cities, broken, swamped, mostly abandoned. I'm sure most everyone would abhor the predicted world without natural ice. 2100. I'd triple despise eugenics taking away color. Would hate artificial intelligence deciding who does it with who. The tall buildings will be of little use when business is conducted in cyberspace and cash is gone and your money will be digits on machines. I don't think I want an automated cab driver. And chauffeurs will be out of a job. Store checkouts automated with voices. Robot barbers with storytelling voices. The poor taught to be believers, not thinkers. Plugged in wired akin to Stasi agents who didn't even know they were agents. The population's low culture, high calorie appetites turned them into gluttony-driven, voracious, spaz, pain-dispensing Morlock marionettes and dull-eyed, masochistic, apathetic Eloi puppets. Rather than angering me, it's melting me into a piddle of pathos. How could this be? I talk to them. They have not opened the clarifying rooms of the mind, is all I can reckon. They can't see the strings. They don't feel the hand inside them. They don't comprehend words, don't want to. They don't get they are accessory to murder, mass murder. Have they witnessed so many murders on screens that murders are received like water on rock, just spit in the ocean? As long as the good guys, their guys, do the killing, it has to be. Their God is a pragmatic one and of European stock. They have so much data and so little know-how when it comes to thinking. They'd rather invest in a myth bought like life insurance. They haven't realized death is the only life insurance. When I told a fellow hottie the undeniable, heinous moves the government had taken, he said, "Oh man, Andy, don't tell me this. If I believe it, even if I think about this, how am I going to go to work tomorrow?" I mean, were they always this way? The self-seeking approval from whoever has the power, the dollars? Was a society ever altruistic? Was it ever truly brave of conscience after growing larger than a few thou, Aristotle? Are they contradictory, hypercritical, untrustworthy creatures setting standards of conduct for others they don't for themselves abide? Is all talk of justice, compassion, freedom ersatz, Maya, a disguise, a ruse, just talk? A rhetoric designed to enslave or to destroy us? I toast you in the revolution. Let his male progeny be busboys. Let Barbie daughter work a 50-hour week at McDonald's and deal with male co-worker predators in the crowded workspace. Let the Kentucky prune be an orderly at an old folks' home bed and pan division. Let the little Bautista unload the vegetable crates out the semi onto the forklift. Let him eat out of a vending machine forever or a Dempsey dumpster. Let the Cuban, Canadian, Texan transform into whipping boy. Let Coquambo, like Stalin, insult and belittle one's wife or lover as a loyalty test. Let you, Adam's family wannabe, do your turn in the swank dungeon with grinning sadists being creative, dining on bat meat. Let Lady Macbeth, the fork-tongued gangster, spend her days as an ordinary working-class Saudi Arabian woman. Let the Minnesota soccer mom prosecutor wait for Beaver to come home. Let her spend a few months in a cellar quad next to the now proven innocent she prosecuted and convicted. Let the talented, dark government groomed and tested howdy-doody be entertainment as the billionaire's mass costume ball. Let him sing and dance with death. Let the grand briber lobby beg on the sidewalks. And Bad Bozo, your prodigy, yelled at busboys. Hurry up! Wipe up the repeat on table 5. I think we have time for We Will Live to Dance Again. Oh, you were special, flaunting that bare shoulder with spinning moves in the drum circle, on the country tavern hardwood, in the meadow of magic round the fire. High stepping the electric hoedown and the slow danced intricate hands, elegantly mudra quality motions of cleansing and cherishing that Blakean smile of smiles, welcoming eyes, emanating desire as tonic as health. When I first felt the back of your thighs and your glutes somehow and why I knew and stated, wow, you have the good stuff. My friend warned me you were demure. No, you wanted it as much as I, in the car. And your face resembling so Bernini's St. Teresa, espousing and exposing what the ideals of the day made into spiritual orgasm, into strong queens and sought-after princesses, Mary Wollstonecraft and her daughter Mary Shelley. And you loved and produced exceptional language, rock and roll and blues that birthed jazz and symphony. No, I am blessed. We too deplored the establishment. 4 kids and big breasts and a face I've always adored since puberty. The gates of Eden protrude and beckon. I would learn the heavy heat deep in the ambrosial bath of my main tool exhibiting a mind of its own and your gypsy skirt dervish. Men and women are enthralled in homage to the traditions you evoke. The future radiates your cheeks. I watch you change apparel, your skin orchestrates my fingers. I put my eyeballs into your nipples. It feels good. COVID-19 just isn't going away, is it? Must it invade every ode, every lyric? Going to the happy side of the bed? Your entire body transforms into clit and G-spot. All of it makes you glad. And that is my desire and goal. There's no ambiguity in our desire, our lusts. The back of your ears, your naked neck, excite my face, and the breathings, whistling outbursts of animal pleasure. I admire your hips with my hands. Our bodies assemble to resemble the movements of the divinities of the pantheons. There is a God for every blade of grass, and a divine iota of sound for every burbling pebble of water. Whether it is my mind or yours, the years, the creases of time, the tree rings of the brow vanished. I could see sharp as daybreak the girl in your face. Meanwhile, the fall of America. We like the lovers of Pompeii, frozen in lava, embracing. Our history, all we knew and abided by, crumbles into industrial black, bleak, burning water. What was the reason to believe in our country? And love is from some fairy tale era, in a motel room, in a pup tent, in the guest room, in the car, in the otherworldly Grand Tetons, jackrabbits and tumbleweeds going apeshit. Oh, delicious skin, oh, fragrant nape. Waves of genital heat sound like the inauguration of this universe. A sucking reverb, and the Big Bang is only my voice. There is no number, symbol, icon, or word come close to accuracy or description. We can't rally. We're inside, wary of touching the outside. The spoken air is a danger. Singing in a church choir could be a ticket to the afterlife. This life on earth is a riddle only solved by death. And what kind of answer is that? Yet for a moment, all the gloom evaporates when you let your jeans fall to your ankles. When you put your mammalia on my buzzard-bait face and your soft touch my testicles. We've had choices. We've had opportunities of heroism. The directions of nations and empires could have gone an unorthodox path to nirvana. But money, pleasure, self-aggrandizement got in the way of America trying to be America, the land of freedom, life it wanted to be. Because of you, I'm still here, saying there is the great escape. It's still alive. I think humanity will find a way from this sickening place it created. It may take millennia, and it may end any day because of the damage to the air, fire, earth, water. Yet humanity could and may survive to a harmonious collective will, yet free-minded destiny. And you know why? Me and you and me. That is why in the drum circle, on the country tavern hardwood floor, in the meadow of magic, it is the lovers who deserve life, and we will live to dance again.
I have one last piece to read called California is Burning. California is burning. Brazil is on fire. Australia in flames. One can't be a poet and be silent. Broken words shatter worlds with lies. Stories told, retold, compelling fantasies of life as it was wished to be, seen through veils of childhood dreams. Meanwhile, too many have had their eyes closed forever. Shielding his wife from a bully, shot while backing away, he went back inside and died on the floor in front of his 5-year-old child. Stand your ground, license to kill in America. Broken hearts, broken minds, caged children emerge disconnected. The emptiness of their eyes shows blankness of lost memories, suffering with no recourse, the magic of loving touch dispersed in darkness. Sun pours down impossible liquid buttercup, sunflower warm, melted gold, heaven's wealth, sliding sinuously, enveloping the earth ground, should have been joyous, reaching upward to bathe, engulf, immerse all in sweet drawn butter, molten, incomprehensible love, held in stillness, but slipping away momentarily, such an ineffably beautiful world, unless there are no windows or doors. Cinder block walls painted to look like outside, a deep horror of false color and light. Indonesia is in flood. Puerto Rico is drowning. Millennial rains fall without end. Africa's soil is cracked and dry. Even the rich are carrying buckets from the well. The melting Arctic permafrost releases long dormant diseases of ancient days, vast movements of people shifting from ancestral lands, the cries of family bones ignored, that the family may survive. I heard that half of American youth have never heard of Auschwitz. No wonder the light is fading. We all bleed inside each other's wounds, the wells of memory shallow in spite of centuries. Silk washes down from chosen ignorance to fill, obscure, delude, remove the mirrored depths, all source of reflection. California is burning. Brazil is on fire. Australia in flames. Indonesia's in flood. And Puerto Rico trembling, shuddering as Earth tries to shake us off. Billions of creatures, whole species lost. Our final century dawns unknown, unacknowledged. If death has a memory, she will sing for us at the end, Yolandi, Yolandi.
Come on, you billionaires. Rid us of this mass insanity. This environmental catastrophe, this racist murdering philosophy, this secret society that has usurped the police departments everywhere. You can stop it. You have the power. We stay on this path, the world won't be good for you. This is not the way to handle the overpopulation crisis, the climate crisis, to allow the world as it is now symbiotically connected to go into horrendous chaos is akin to welcoming the horsemen of the apocalypse to go rampant. You must put your money power to work. This present state of affairs is not a good business model, no matter what the stock market is saying. Your profits are temporary, ethereal. The hurricanes hitting the South, the fires ravaging California and Oregon, the police treating black people and Indians, the original people, similar to the way Germany treated Jews in the 30s. This is a result of ignorant neglect, denial, cowardice by the Pharisaic DNC, added to the policy of Mammonite, sadistic, corrupt, loyal to Caligula, Nero, Diocletian, GOP. Don't make the same mistake the German wealth made, letting the Nazis seize control. If you don't do what you know is correct, we are headed for a status as horrible as the flooding of the Mediterranean Valley, the plagues, and all the wars of history combined. I'm 76. I won't be here much longer, but consider the younger generations. Do you really want to see all the accomplishments of 10,000 years wiped out? Buffett, Bezos, Gates, Russian oligarchs, Mellons, Rockefellers, DuPonts, Mr. Slim, and Rothschilds, and the names that are not household. You may be comfortable in your mansions now. You won't always be. I know you have intelligence. You must do something now. You've been talking about it for centuries. Use your wealth for humanity. Prove Voltaire and Gibbons correct. You don't want to shame. You has to be plural. It will take many yous to stop this suicidal agenda, sans the last resort, mass violence and decimation of the planet. Moving over.
Apparently my mic wasn't on for California is Burning. So I'm going to read it again, and I hope that you'll like it as well this time as you did last time. California is burning. California is burning. Brazil is on fire. Australia in flames. One can't be a poet and be silent. Broken words shatter worlds with lies. Stories told, retold, compelling fantasies of life as it was wished to be, seen through veils of childhood dreams. Meanwhile, too many have had their eyes closed forever. Shielding his wife from a bully, shot while backing away, he went back inside and died on the floor in front of his 5-year-old child. Stand your ground, license to kill in America. Broken hearts, broken minds, caged children emerge disconnected. The emptiness of their eyes shows blankness of lost memories. Suffering with no recourse, the magic of loving touch dispersed in darkness. The sun pours down, impossible liquid buttercup, sunflower warm, melted gold, heaven's wealth sliding sinuously, enveloping the earthbound, should have been joyous, reaching upward to bathe, engulf, immerse, all in sweet drawn butter, molten incomprehensible love, held in stillness, but slipping away momentarily. Such an ineffably beautiful world, unless there are no windows, no doors.